What's up, y'all? I'm about to just get straight to it in this video. So I'm about to take this Integra Type S for a spin and compare it to my WRX TR. Which one's going to be the better driver? We're about to find out, where I'm about to talk about my driving thoughts as I take it on a brisk drive and spinning a few blocks. So let's hop in the TL, or not the TL, the Integra Type S first. Do a walk around real quick. 320 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque, Apex Blue Orchid interior, 19-inch wheels, got the Brembos on there in the front, 6-piston I believe, 3-exit exhaust, dual mode exhaust, it gets loud, it gets quiet, very practical hatchback, 4-door, and we're about to take this for a spin right quick. This is available at Jeffrey Acura. I'll have it linked down in the description below. Let's hit the road in the Integra Type S. Adjust my steering wheel just a little bit, like it down low. There go that annoying beeping that I made in that one video. Things I hate the most about it. We're gonna go straight to sport mode because why not? Steering in here is heavy. Heavier than what I've been noticing in a lot of other vehicles. Ignore this telltale, that's just the tire pressure sensor is a little bit low. And these brakes feel a little bit rusty right now. That exhaust got a deep growl to it. Sound much better than the WRX in stock form. Woo! Definitely punchy off the line too. Raise my seat up a little bit. But one thing that I do notice about this car, I can hear the little buzzes already. So that was the same complaint that I had in my Type S. Just minor buzzes with the stock exhaust is a little bit drony, a little bit of resonance bouncing off the interior, rattles if you will. Automatic rev match is on. Ew. But this car is very tight. Noticeably sharper than the WRX. And eager to go too. Steering is flat as well. The dampening, I would say that it's better than the WRX. I'm only saying all these things comparing it to the WRX already because I own both of these cars. I own the WRX currently and I had the Type S in the past. And I'm riding around in fourth gear. Let me drop it down to 6. Shifter is amazing. Great shifter, always know where you at. Steering wheel, in my Type S I had the Alcantara steering wheel, which is another dealer accessory, and a titanium shift knob. These shift knobs in here are on the small side, like I wish they were bigger, like the Type R. And the steering wheel, I need that Alcantara because it just feels better. This one feels kind of slim and narrow. Doesn't feel as premium as the Alcantara. But dampening in this Sport Plus mode, very, very good. Forgot it's on automatic rev match. The way that it can take a curve, just flat. So this car in the turns is going to be a pleasure to drive. Still hearing that rattle in that B pillar. But take it to a dealership. They might fix that for you. Put some little foam, sound deadening, whatever needs to be in there to fix it. I took mine to the dealership. They did not fix it for me. And shout out to my guy Zyger, and he's got one of these in the same exact color, same exact spec. Coming on off the highway. I'm still trying to do the downshift rev matching myself. Feels great. I would typically drive it in individual mode. Let me see what this is set up to in individual mode. Let me customize that. So engine Sport Plus, suspension comfort, pretty much everything in Sport Plus and comfort suspension. That's how I would normally drive. In the summer times, depending on which roads, I would crank up the suspension to either normal or a Sport Plus or Sport or Sport Plus. It doesn't have a normal mode in this car anymore. I'm getting confused with the A-Spec. I'm gonna actually dial back this steering to sport. It's very heavy in sport plus mode. I don't like that. But, and there was a recall on one of these Integras. I think it's the 2023. I don't know if it's the Type S, but there's an issue with the steering that they're willing to fix for free with the recall. I got mine in the mail, but I no longer have either one of my Integras. Easy to get in gear. And there are some pops in the exhaust too. I like that a whole lot. Type R doesn't do that. And with the aftermarket exhaust, it's a lot more pronounced, which I go crazy for stuff like that. Brakes are excellent. These brakes are a little bit rusty because the car's been sitting. We're in the Michigan winter right now, so it'll come off the more you use it. Flies right off. One thing about these seats, they are not the most comfortable. They don't hug you, especially when comparing to the Type R. The Type R had radical bolstering in it. This Integra Type S, it's a lot of lateral movement can be had. And because the seats they have the micro sway inserts, you won't slide around, but it doesn't hug you at all. And the bottom is on the hard side, which I do not like. On the long hauls, it gets a little bit uncomfortable at times. Gotta love that 7,000 RPM red line. This car hauls, man. My WRX slow compared to this. Then we have the internet dorks that will call these cars slow. I mean, it's all relative. Like, it's fast on the track. If you can drive a car fast, then this car can be fast on the track when driven. But straight line performance, it's 320 horsepower. Like, it's not trying to be that. And people, for some reason, can't seem to wrap their mind around that. Mind-boggling. But it's an excellent car. Super fun on dry road conditions. In the wet, it's not as fun because front wheel drive dynamics is going to want to understeer in the wet and definitely in the snow. It's no fun. It's no handbraking here to have those wintertime snow shenanigans. I wish it did have one of those. But if you don't have to deal with snow or a lot of precipitation, my goodness, awesome car to drive. But we're about to see what it's like on the bumpy road in just a moment here. Dodging them potholes. Let me do some downshifts. Y'all didn't believe I said the shifter's amazing. Downshift rev matching does it for me. And that works very well in this car. When you want to downshift rev match yourself, it's a great toe box down there to do so. You got enough room to do all your shifting desires. It's great shifting. Every driving dynamic in here, they engineered to perfection. Driving on a normal road, let me dial everything back to comfort. These Michigan roads, y'all know our roads here are terrible, so you're going to want to drive in comfort mode. And comfort mode is going to close the baffles to where you don't hear all the exhaust pops. Really tame. You don't really hear it at all. But the damping on here is amazing as well. Got adaptive dampers. You can make it firm, soft, whatever. That's why I think this is the perfect daily driver, because you can adjust to many different situations. I do think it's goofy that if you want to drive with no traction control, you got to do the pedal dance to fully disable ESC, which is the stability control. It's a lengthy process. Well, it's not that lengthy. It takes like 10, 15 seconds, but most cars you just hold the button for like 5 seconds or just press the button, it turns all that stuff off. But on these bumpy roads, soaks it up real well. High praise for this car. Just when rain and snow come to play, that's when the WRX is going to be better. But speaking of the WRX, let's get our cameras out of here and into the WRX. On to the WRX, where we got 271 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque, or something like that. Mine's has some modifications to it, like the front grille splitters, wheels, wing. I just couldn't bring this car to this dealership to do a comparison with the Integra Type S just because of how it looks in stock form. I had to spruce it up just a little bit, and once I did that, which I did yesterday, and I washed it, and the car is dirty right now, so never mind all that. We got to see how they drive. So this is what I considered a downgrade. I downgraded from the Integra Type S to the WRX. But does it hold its own? Does it hold a candle to the TLX? Oh, I keep messing up that name. The Integra Type S. Let's find out. Had to shoot back over to the Integra because I forgot my camera bag in there. Oops. But let's get this show on the road. So the reverse is in the same position, to the right and down. On this car, you just got to pull the collar up. On the Integra, it's just to the right and down. The WRX, we got a little bit of a flat bottom steering wheel. That's different. We ain't gonna have none of those driving enhancements. So the TS, so this is WRX TR. Same suspension is on the stiffer side, but the TS, that's going to have the adaptive suspension, and that releases early, probably January, February next year. And we're not going to have auto rev matching here. This is all-wheel drive. Only revs up to like 6,000 RPM. So my hand slips off the shifter. And this shifter in this car, dare I say, is garbage. What I mean by that, it's a lot of slop, and I have a modification on here to help out with that slop, but it is just not a great shifting car at all, definitely in stock form. So I don't have the STI short throw shifter that some of these WRXs get. So when it's in gear, you can still feel slop. So I got a Cobb stop shift in here, which helps out with a lot of the slop in first and second gear. Still needs a couple more mods. Nowhere near the Integra and in terms of shifting feel. But where this does beat the Integra, it does have much better seats. This has Recaro seats, much better supportive, nice bolstering in here. This has a great audio system too with the Harman Kardon. I get a slight edge to the Integra with the ELS system. Got better visibility. It's going to be a little bit less practical because it is a sedan as opposed to a liftback. And the power, that Integra Type S feels a lot more powerful than this car, and it is more powerful. So this has they both have mid-range torque, to be honest, and the Integra revs out 1,000 more RPM, but this car off the line is just going to be slower. The suspension is stiffer. I think the Sport Plus mode in the Integra versus this same suspension in the TR, this is much more stiff. It's it's very firm in here, so it's not overly dampened. On smooth roads it's going to be great, but once you get to those imperfections, ooh lord, that's where you're going to notice it. Downshifting from 6th to 5th is not a joy because there's a lot of slop. I'm going to have to adjust that the shift stop in here, or just get a completely, I got to fix this shifter in here because it's just bad. It's not smooth. Going from 4 to 3 though, that's going to be good because from the factory they got that right. And even going down to second, the stop shift helped that out, which I had to adjust myself once I installed it. The brakes on here, since it is the TR, as I mentioned, is going to have the bigger brakes. Got the Brembos in here. I think it's a 6-pot in the front, 2 in the rear maybe. I'm not sure. But steering wheel feel, it's going to need an upgrade. This is the WRX, so it does have some nice touches to it. We're going to have some Alcantara around the dash. And the design in here is a little bit plain. The seats are nicely designed, but as far as like soft touches and all of that, it's not a ton of it. So they both, actually this might be, no, that's this right here where you would rest your knee. I give kudos to the WRX because the Integra Type S, that was just all plastic. Where my knee might rest, it could rest, but I don't think it will because the seat bolstering is too extreme. This will be a more comfortable to rest my knee on for those long journeys. So the exhaust on here, the previous WRXs, they had unequal length headers. So that's where you get the classic Subaru rumble. This ain't got that anymore, so it could use another exhaust. With an aftermarket exhaust, you will get some pops and backfires on here, but in stock form, I haven't heard anything at all. Power is adequate. It makes some nice swoosh noises. And if we want to talk modifications, holy cow, that'll wake this car all the way up. But we're dealing with stock for stock. This is the slower car. And like I said, it could be the inferior car depending on what you're looking for. What I mean by that, when it comes to driving, like all-wheel drive, Subaru has a legendary all-wheel drive system, what they say. So driving in the snow, the symmetrical all-wheel drive, it will get you out of there. Because I hate to admit it, I was driving around with this on summer tires. I just switched over to all seasons, waiting on my wheels to come through. But even on summer tires, I was able to take off in the snow, even though I highly recommend not doing that. But I was able to when I needed to. But Michigan, it snows unpredictably a lot here. But the all-wheel drive definitely played a huge part in that. And in the rear seat, you got a lot more headroom. So fitting a family in here, that would be great. Another pro that it does have is 5 seats in here as opposed to 4 in the Integra Type S. All right. Let me do some accelerations. Doesn't rev for too long. Gotta enjoy the turbo noises though. The aftermarket on this car is huge. You can make this car do kind of whatever you want to, but I'm gonna keep it stock for stock. Like I said, it's actually not bad on gas either. I average better gas mileage on here, even though the EPA is going to be like 21 in the city, 28 on the highway. On the highway in this car, I can get 31, 33 miles per gallon. And in the Integra Type S on the highway, I was getting like 30 at best. But from city driving, I was averaging like 19, 20 in the Integra Type S. In the WRX, I averaged like 20, 21. So it's slightly better. Let me test out these curves while I'm in it. You get a lot more confidence driving in this car. The all-wheel drive is just going to pull you. It gives you like a false courage, kind of like trucks get when they're driving in snow. They can just drive however fast. Like you don't have to worry about. It's not a great car to learn driving on because it's going to hide a lot of driving things. Like my Miata, it has all the body roll. It's going to communicate that with you. The WRX, since it's all-wheel drive, is not going to do all that. And the Integra Type S, it's kind of hard to eke out that performance to see where the limits are. That's like at track driving, that's where you can notice that at easily. But on the city, no, you're not going to really notice too much of anything in either of the cars. So coming off the highway, hitting my brakes, slowing down, stopping, Brembos are excellent on this vehicle. So after driving them back to back, I gotta say the Integra is the superior car to drive. Just like the driving inputs, how it revs out, how it communicates, the shifter, steering feel, could be about the same. I don't notice. Neither one is anything to write home about. I felt like the Type S in Sport Plus mode was over dampened, and in this vehicle you don't even have modes that you can shift through. But being able to power out of a corner in this car, you can do that. You can't do that in the Integra Type S. You get introduced to not torque steer, but understeer. And on this car, I can launch it harder because the all-wheel drive is going to be easier. They probably do 60 in about the same amount of time, but the Integra's got, 50 more horsepower on it, so it can pull harder. And it's lighter, too. This is 3,400 pounds versus 3,300 pounds. Driving this on crumbling Michigan roads, you're going to notice that you might want to step up to the GT, but that's CVT only, or just wait for the TS to come out where you can get an adaptive suspension, because this is firm all the time. If you like a more cushy ride but one all-wheel drive, just wait for the TS. You can get that with a manual, and you get the cool blue stitching as well. So that's going to wrap up my driving impressions of the Integra Type S versus the WRX. So the WRX is a class below the Integra Type S, because if you look at the base price, when I bought my Integra, the A-Spec, that started off at $32,000. With the manual, that was $37,000 with the A-Spec Integra. And that matches up well to a premium WRX or even a limited WRX, which the WRX might be the better choice at that price point. But once you step up to the Type S and the Type R type league, the WRX, the performance just isn't there. The sophistication isn't there. Like the materials in the Integra are better, and like the shifter is just better. The one knock I got against the Integra is the hard plastic down below when I'm on the road trips where my knee would sit at. This car gets a little bit bumpy due to how firm it is on this road right here. But both are great choices. It just depends on where you are. If you live in a place with a lot of hills and snow, the WRX is going to be your obvious choice. But if you live in a place like that's warm all 4 seasons, the Integra Type S might be the one for you. And some people don't like to deal with stigmas of certain cars. Then, like, the WRX is more looked at as a immature type of car to some people, if that matters to you. I don't care about none of that. But the Integra Type S is perceived as the mature person's car because it's from a luxury brand, or a premium brand is what it truly is. And it's built off the Civic, and some of that shines through the Integra. But the Civic and the Integra, they are engineered to be driver's cars, and they drive really well, especially at their price points. The WRX could use a little bit more polishing. Let me go through here one more time. Just give it all it's got. Could use a little bit more grunt. The steering wheel, or not the steering, the shifter isn't that great for driving aggressively. But to say that I don't have fun in this car, that would be a lie. The WRX can be more fun to have in more situations than what the Integra Type S can be. So that's all I got to say about that, y'all. If y'all got any comments to add to it, drop it in the comment section. But you all, don't forget to drive safe, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace out.